Hey YouTube, sorry for the delay. I was getting um, the sheets, some new sheets ready for upcoming games. So, okay, I got the stats already, including the playoff stats. So here we go. So once again, if you hit Thunder. So if you happen to come across this video and happen to like it, give me that thumbs up doodle. It's very important. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe icon and be notified. And you can also be notified every time I upload a new video. Or you can even be notified. You can customize the notifications every time I do an NHL report or my personal log, which is called DTV, or like a video or favorite video. You know about it. All right, let's get right into it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the dock. So let's get on with it. Starting off with Chicago at Toronto. Entering the match at Chicago was 16-31 and 5 and 37 points. Toronto 32-14 and 8 and 72 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Toronto wins by a score of 5-2. Shots on goal. The Maple Leafs 42, Chicago 29. Toronto had 27 saves with Chicago 37. Both teams were 0 for 3 on the power play. Big win for Toronto as they pick up their 72nd point. And I did root for Toronto. I wanted them to win, so way to go. That's 1-1 for me. Next was Tampa at Arizona. Entering this matchup, Tampa was 35-16-2 and 72 points. Arizona 18-28 and 8 and 44 points. Folks, this win to overtime. There was no score, and it went into a shootout. It went 3 rounds, and the results of that shootout was Arizona went 2 for 3, Tampa Bay 1 for 3. Arizona wins 1-0. So this was a shutout for both teams. As the Coyotes had 26 shots, Tampa Bay had 47 shots. The Lightning had 47 shots. Um, the Coyotes had 47 saves with the Lightning 26. Arizona was 0 for 2 on power play with Tampa Bay 0 for 5 on the power play. So, despite picking up a point, besides Tampa Bay picking up a point, Arizona picks up the big two. But hey, both teams got a shutout, which is great. Next, Detroit at Edmonton. Entering this matchup, Detroit was 24-20 and 8 and 56 points. Just in case we get a power. Alright, folks, I'm turning off my TV just in case I get a power flicker. And that's also why I unplugged my computer. Just in case, you never know. Detroit was 24-20 and 8 and 56 points. Edmonton 30-19 and 5 and 65 points. This game also went to overtime and then had to go. There was no score. This also had to go in a shootout. This went 5 rounds, and the results of that were Edmonton went 1 for 5. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I kind of heard something, but being alone in the house, that's something too. Okay, all right. So Edmonton loses in a shootout by a final score. Oh, sorry. The results of that were um, Edmonton went 2 for 5. I mean, 1 for 5. Detroit 2 for 5, and Detroit wins by a score of 5-4. Shots on goal, the Red Wings 23, Edmonton 45. Detroit had the Red Wings 41 saves, Edmonton 19. Detroit went 2 for 2 on the power play, with Edmonton 1 for 3 on the power play. Well, Edmonton picks up an important point, but Detroit picks up the big 2. Next, the Colorado Avalanche at Minnesota Wild entered the matchup. Colorado was 28, 19, and 5 and 61 points. Minnesota 28, 20, and 8 and also 61 points. And at the end of 16 minutes, the Colorado Avalanche beat the Minnesota Wild by a score of 3-2. Oh boy. No. I think they say we're going to have some thunder tonight, so. Shots on goal were 19 for the Avs, 43 for the Wild, 41 saves for the Avs, 16 for the Wild. Colorado was 0 for 1 on the power play, with Minnesota 1 for 2 on the power play. Big 3 points. And Colorado is now in, well, we'll get to that in the playoffs. Oh. Next, Buffalo Anaheim entering the matchup. Hold on. Sorry about that. That's my buddy Andy texted me. By the way, hey Andy, I know it's you. It's hardcore, or I know it's you. Trust me, I know it is. Okay, Buffalo Anaheim entering the matchup. Buffalo was 26, 24, and 4 and 56 points. Anaheim 17, 31, and 6 and 40 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Buffalo Sabres beat the Anaheim Ducks by a score of 7-3. Shots on goal, the Sabres 44, the Ducks 22. The Sabres had 19 saves, with Anaheim 30. With the Ducks at 37. Buffalo went 1 for 5 on the power play, with Anaheim over 2 on the power play. Big 2 points for Buffalo as things are, as we get ready. And finally, the Rangers at Vancouver. Entering this matchup, the New York Rangers were 31, 14, and 8 and 70 points, while Vancouver was 21, 29, and 4 and 46 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the New York Rangers win 6-4. Shots on goal were 28 for the Rangers, the Canucks 29. The Rangers had 25 saves, and Vancouver and the Canucks 22. The New York Rangers were over 1 on the power play, with Vancouver 1 for 2 on the power play. A very big 2 points for the Rangers, and it was their 6th win in a row. So with that being said, we're done. And now, with the playoff outlook. Now, folks, this is how, now, for you new people and you don't know how things work, here's how this works. We got 4 divisions, as you know: Metropolitan, the Atlantic, the Central, and the Pacific. Metropolitan and the Atlantic are in the East, while the Central and the Pacific are in the West. And the top 3 seeds move on. So, in that, so your seedings are M1 will take on the second wild card, and M2 and M3 will take on each other. And in the Atlantic, it's A1 And they will take on wild card 1 with A2 and A3 taking on each other. And in the West, it's C1, saying for Central 1, they will take on wild card 2 with C2 and C3 taking on each other. And then in the Pacific, it's P1 taking on wild card 1 and P2 taking on P3. So, uh, Carolina holds the best record in the Metropolitan, followed by New Jersey. Actually, I'll give you the records. As they currently stand, Carolina at 35, 10, and 8 and 78 points, with New Jersey at 35, 13, and 5 and 75 points. The New York Rangers at 32, 14, and 8 and 72 points. Pittsburgh at 27, 17, and 9 and 63 points. Washington at 28, 22, and 6 and 62 points. The New York Islanders at 27, 23, and 7 and 61 points. Philadelphia at 22, 23, and 10 and 54 points, and followed by Columbus at 16, 34, and 4 and 36 points. Now, by looking at these standings, you can pretty much tell. Now, they go by the points, by the way, too. And by how you can tell, you can pretty much know Columbus is out. There's no way for them to come back. And I believe so. So I am going to. But technically, they're not mathematically out of it yet. I think if Columbus reaches 40 losses, they're out. There's no way coming back. If they reach that 40th loss, they're totally. And believe it or not, 36. They got a 42 points to make up. I don't see it happening. Now in the Atlantic, here's how this breaks down. It's Boston at 48 and 5, 85 points. They are the best team in the East. Followed by Toronto at 33, 14 and 8 and 74 points. Tampa Bay at 35, 16 and 3 and 73 points. Florida at 27, 24 and 6 and 60 points. Buffalo at 27, 22 and 4 and 58 points. Detroit at 25, 20 and 8 and 58 points also. Detroit at 26, 24 and 3 and 55 points. And Montreal, the Red Wings of Montreal at 23, 27 and 4 and 50 points. Now, in the East, Montreal, they got 35 points to make up. They still can probably make it up and win. So, M1 is Carolina. They will take on and by the way, your wild card teams are Pittsburgh. They got the first wild card, and then Washington with the second wild card. So both there are two metropolitan teams. So in the East, this is how the playoff will look. Is Carolina, they will take on Pittsburgh, followed by New Jersey, they will host the Rangers. In the Atlantic, Boston will take on Washington. They will meet Washington since also they're the best team in the East. So they will take on Washington, who's the second wild card. And then Toronto will host Tampa Bay. Oh, by the way, there's a trophy you get if you had the best record, or should we say the most points at the end of the regular season. And who currently gets that? Well, that'll currently go to Boston. So Boston will get the President's Trophy. That's the name of the trophy. It's called the President's Cup. Or the President's Trophy. Not a bad little trophy. Now, yes, the Blues have won it. But can I tell you this? Some people say that's a curse. That's a cursed trophy. Okay, now let's get to the West. In the Central Division, it's Dallas at 30, 14, and 11 and 71 points, followed by Winnipeg at 34, 19, and 1 and 69 points. Colorado at 29, 19, and 5 and 63 points. Now, before I continue, I know what you're saying. Hold it here. Why does Winnipeg have 34 wins and Dallas has 30? Well, here's the thing. You gotta know something. They go by the points you have. So if they went by the record, which technically they should, Winnipeg should be in first, followed by Dallas. But it's not. So Let's continue. Minnesota at 28, 21, and 5 and 61 points. Nashville at 25, 20, and 6 and 56 points. St. Louis at 25, 25, and 3 and 53 points. Arizona at 19, 28, and 8 and 46 points. And then followed by Chicago at 16, 32, and 5 and 37 points. And in the Pacific, it's Las Vegas, Golden Knights at 32, 18, and 4 and 68 points. Followed by Los Angeles at 30, 18 and 7 and 67 points. Then Seattle at 30, 18 and 6 and 66 points. Edmonton and 30, 19 and 6 and 66 points. Also, now here's the thing. Now, when I did the Buffalo and Detroit, they get the same amount of points, but Buffalo, they have more wins, so that's why they're here. Seattle and Edmonton, they pretty good got it down to records. But with Seattle with one less loss than Edmonton, that's why they're in third place. Calgary at 25, 18, and 11 and 61 points. Vancouver at 21, 30, and 4 and 46 points. San Jose at 17, 27, and 11 and 45 points. And then followed by Anaheim at 17, 32, and 6 and 40 points. Well, you can pretty much count Chicago. I say Chicago's mathematically out of it because I don't see it. And you can also mathematically count out, well, $28 points is a lot. You need 14 wins. And Anaheim getting 14 wins in a row, I don't see him really mathematically out of it, but I could tell mathematically out of it is Chicago. And you know what? I'm also mathematically outing, in my book, Columbus. So in the Pacific, or should I say in the West, Dallas, who's the Central Division leader, will take on Oh, by the way, the wild cards. Just like in the East, this time around, the two wild cards belong to two Pacific Division teams, Calgary and Edmonton. So with Dallas being the best team in the West, they will take on the wild card 2 team, which is Calgary, followed by Winnipeg and Colorado for that. In the Pacific, Vegas will take on Edmonton, who's the first wild card team, and then LA will host Seattle. That's how things look right now, but folks, these playoff standings could change. And with tonight's loss, by the way, for Minnesota, they get leapfrogged by Colorado since Colorado won tonight. So Colorado leapfrogs Minnesota. So that's some good news for Colorado. And don't forget, Colorado's the defending Cup champions. So that ought to do it, folks. Okay, let me get this reversed. All right. I will talk at you guys later on for the pregame report. And I do want you guys to know I am going to tonight's game, or the game tonight, since it is now technically the 16th. And I'm gonna have fun. Got some tickets. Oh, and by the way, folks, I do want to say this. If you haven't noticed anything different, comment. Leave a comment. Say, hey, don't you look a little different from yesterday? When you did your video yesterday, you look different from what you look like now. Comment. Literally, comment. And see if you notice anything different. Well, that'll do it, folks. I love you guys a lot. As always, please stay safe. Take care. Remember, those watching it, and I'll see you guys later today for the pregame report. So then, peace.